And I was like, is that spoiling the fact that Rey is not related to any Skywalkers? But at the same time, does that mean Kylo Ren's going to die because he technically is a Skywalker? But this story is actually basically an anthology, not like the Star Wars stories where they're complete spin-offs. This is going to be a connected trilogy that is just separate. So
a connected spin-off.
Yeah, Disney is really taking over everything.
Because everyone likes Star Wars.
They have their own network. Well, obviously they have their own network on TV, but they're making their own streaming service, which will also have a live-action Star Wars TV show that's in development.
That's going to be cool.
And so,
they do it right.
Like, we're starting to get into the phase where I feel like there's going to be 2 Star Wars movies a year, which I hope it's not too much.
It's going to become like Marvel.
Yeah, so that's why...
It's not going to be special, and I kind of don't like that.
I mean, I still think that there will be specialty to it, but it's going to be weird because... You know, you start to feel the magic of, like, it's December again, Star Wars is coming
Christmas
back.
And Star Wars are, like, hand in hand.
And I don't know how I feel about having 2 a year, but it's all in the future, and these are only in development. We don't have any actors attached. We don't have any names. We don't even know when they're going to take place. I know Luke had some good thoughts about when he wants it to take place, so I'm going to transition to Luke.
I mean, as a Star Wars fan, I was, like, saddened by Disney nixing the entire, like, Old Republic era before the prequels. And anything before that, except for like Darth Bane and Darth Plagueis, was essentially made non-canon.
Right.
So it'd be cool if Disney would be able to like explore that entire thing.
It would be beautiful.
Yeah, particularly if they could bring back Darth Revan. That whole like storyline.
I would love to see them explore the Old Republic because it's something that really hasn't been delved into on screen.
It's something that could look great with cinematography.
Yeah.
The stories could be good. The characters could be great.
And it's never gone mainstream. So
and it could really like
mainstream popularity. It was good.
Resonate with an audience just as much as any of the Skywalker movies.
Like I said, I was talking to you guys earlier. It's really like the Old Republic is taking Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and mixing it together.
Ooh. Yeah, and I think that would be fascinating to see on screen, especially with who they could get attached to it. True. I do know the first one is being written and directed by Rian Johnson, and I believe he's writing some of the next 2.
He's essentially going to be like J.J. Abrams with this trilogy.
There's a lot of directors they could get to helm these projects. I know Chris Columbus is actually retiring soon, but he would be an interesting name to see attached.
Yeah.
Just thinking Matthew Vaughn is always being popped up. I think he'd be great.
George Lucas.
George Lucas.
Hey guys, I'm back to director. Can't wait.
Yeah, an Old Republic movie like George Lucas.
Coming back.
Yeah, we have a lot.
Spielberg?
We have a lot to talk about George Lucas in the future.
Here's hoping that these movies are Old Republic and not like Lando Calrissian growing up.
Yeah,
well, that's like a Star Wars.
They need to be action-packed in order to get people together.
I want to see new characters. I don't want... Yeah. I'm all for...
You have this whole universe to
I'm
explore.
all for going... I like the idea of the Han Solo movie, not as much recently with the problems they've had behind the scenes, but the prospect of a Han Solo movie is really enticing. But another thing that's really enticing is going into the lore that they haven't explored on screen.
They could go way
down. They have
I think there have
thousands of years that they could delve into.
Seriously, like it doesn't have to have any connection at all to
I think there's going to be like some sort of like references to like the Skywalkers and whatnot. Because the whole like point of Star Wars as we know it is the Skywalker, so I don't think they could get away with it without being like, oh, and there will be something in the future.
Right.
But just that.
Yeah, they don't have to be explicit. Just like in The Force Awakens, they make one subtle reference to the prequels when he goes, when I think it was...
Maybe Supreme Leader Snoke should invest in a clone.
Yeah, that's what it was.
My troops are great.
Kylo Ren was shut down immediately, the prospect of having a clone army, and they don't really explicitly mention the Clone Wars. They just mention a clone army, and it gets pushed aside, but that's all you need. You just need a subtle reference. So, yeah... To this new Star Wars trilogy, I'm really excited at the prospect of it being an Old Republic trilogy. I think that'd be fascinating. Even a trilogy going between episodes 6 and 7, but I feel like that's a story that needs to be told with Skywalkers.
Yes.
We need to know about Luke training Kylo Ren.
That would be actually pretty cool.
And so...
I think we're going to see some of that in Last
Jedi.
Yeah,
I feel like...
flashbacks or whatever, Force visions, because they don't do flashbacks.
Yeah, so I really hope... Like Luke said, this is an Old Republic trilogy, and it'll be interesting to see what further news comes out from this in the coming weeks. All right, moving on to our last news topic is the Greatest Showman trailer. I believe this is the second trailer for the movie. I didn't know if I wanted to talk about this at first on the podcast, but we all sat down and watched it, and
it's good.
To be honest, from my perspective, I thought this was a really good trailer.
Debatable if that's Hugh Jackman singing.
No, it's not Hugh Jackman singing.
Yeah, well, Hugh
Is
Jackman...
this a musical?
It is.
It is.
That's cool.
Hugh Jackman does have a good voice. He was in Les Mis, and most of that was obviously they did studio work with it, but he does have a good singing voice. It is.
He did sing in Les Mis, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was on set
So
singing, too.
I do believe he was singing, but it is obviously hyped up
Auto-tune
by
a bit, you know,
yeah.
spruced up.
But from this trailer, I just thought it was a very interesting perspective on the whole getting the whole like freak show together, and I thought the business with the bearded lady was very interesting on how she's like an outcast completely. I love seeing Zac Efron in movies just because I think he has so much potential to be a movie star, but he just never gets there completely. Baywatch wasn't great, but I thought he was fantastic in Neighbors, and Neighbors 2.
I think this movie is
he's
trying
just
to
the
take
funny like guy, like hey,
stuff that's been recently popular and make it popular again.
As in
American
Circus.
Horror Story Freak Show was pretty popular, and this kind of seems kind of similar. With the whole like sad bearded lady thing.
Except this time Zendaya's in it.
Ooh,
Yeah.
fun.
funky.
But I don't know. I'm gonna keep. I don't know. It looks cool, and the cinematography's nice, but I don't know if it's gonna be good or not. It could bomb. I don't think it's gonna make.
I don't know if it'll
money.
make a lot of money, especially with it coming out. I think it was December 20th, right around Christmas time, which is what
Star
5
Wars.
days after The Last Jedi's released.
Good luck with that. That's
Yeah.
just bad marketing.
Yeah.
That's just bad
Yeah.
marketing.
I don't think it's gonna do good.
But you know what? You thought Suicide Squad was going to do good.
It's true.
It did make decent money, but
But
also
it wasn't a good movie, and that's all we care about here.
Hugh Jackman, as in franchises other than X-Men, he doesn't have a great track record because what was the latest one he was in? The Neverland spinoff. Pan was a bomb. Pan made no money, and so that was a role he really got into. He played Blackbeard, not Blackbeard.
Captain
Captain Hook.
No, he wasn't Captain Hook. He was the one before him because Hook was
Captain. Almost. Huh.
Yeah, whatever he was. Point is, it was a very forgettable movie and it didn't make a ton of money. So even
I never
though
heard of it before this moment,
so I do believe Hugh Jackman is an A-lister, but if he can bring in box office, that is still a question. The Greatest Showman arrives, as I said, on December 20th of this year, and it's directed by Michael Gracie, and it will star Hugh Jackman, Zac Efron, Rebecca Ferguson, and Zendaya. All right, so that will conclude our news topics for the week, and we will move into our weekly Star Wars episode review, coming in with Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Unanimously the best of the prequels. I think no one will agree.
Solid C+.
But it does have flaws, as we will all express. But we will have a lot more positives to talk about as well. I'm just
More
going to
than
read
the first two.
for sure.
How were the first two episodes for this?
We had about 3 positives for Phantom Menace,
We had a moment where Liam was like, all right, time for the positives.
and we just silence. All right, so before we review Revenge of the Sith, I just want to read the synopsis real quick. All right, it has been 3 years since the Clone Wars began. Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, played by Ewan McGregor, and Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, played by Hayden Christensen, rescued Chancellor Palpatine, played by Ian McDiarmid, from General Grievous, played by CGI, the commander of the droid armies, but Grievous escapes. Suspicions are raised within the Jedi Council concerning Chancellor Palpatine, with whom Anakin has formed a bond. Asked to spy on the Chancellor, and full of bitterness towards the Jedi Council, Anakin embraces the dark side. All right.
Because his wife's dying.
So, positives. Anything we want to talk about right from the start? I'll
General
start with
Grievous is cool.
Ewan McGregor is great. I love that man.
and Jake.
I think Ewan McGregor is the shining jewel, like I said,
of the
before,
prequels.
Of the prequels.
Yeah.
I don't think General Grievous was that captivating.
I know,
He
I
just
think-
wasn't used right.
I don't know. I think he's kind of cool.
He was right in the Clone Wars TV show.
He is, if you ever want to watch it.
Liam.
He's a different character. He's not like a boring Trade Federation guy. I don't know.
All right, but I want to stick with positives for now. And so, as Luke expressed, and Jake, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think he really shines in this movie.
Yeah.
He's the one where I don't find any glaring faults with his character.
Yeah.
As in, he is given some dialogue that's iffy, but
Everyone is.
he doesn't execute it embarrassingly as other characters do.
It kind of works. Like, he talks in like a formal way where
Yeah.
like, the dialogue doesn't... It's okay if it's a
It's
little
kind of like,
shy.
all right, yeah. I get it.
Also, I just want to give a shout out to his hair. His hair is phenomenal in this movie. His beard is
it's
just
so good.
he is like the face of
put him on the
of the Jedi Council. Put him on the pamphlets.
Pamphlets.
He's the man. This is where I really found Ewan McGregor to truly embrace Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't think anyone disagrees that he was great in the first two, but I think this is the one where he really shines and really takes the character for his own. And I would even say, this might cause controversy, but like I think he embraces Obi-Wan Kenobi more than his name escapes me, but
Alec Guinness?
Bruh. I know.
Alec
But
Guinness is like...
Actually, I kind of
You know?
agree with you there. I feel like
because they're
Ewan McGregor was like, all right, so these last two movies,
We're-
time to step up my game.
yeah, and especially with the rumors that we will be getting not only an Obi-Wan movie but an Obi-Wan trilogy, I think
That would be amazing.
How do you
Ewan
make a
McGregor.
trilogy out of a dude lost on a desert planet for 19 years?
He's got a whole story with Sabine on Mandalore. You could go back there if you wanted to.
And
do you really include like Rebels
there's-
material in that though?
And there's rumors of him being not Rey's father, obviously, but Rey's grandfather. So you could get into the storyline that he had a kid at some point. Obviously, it would go
against the Jedi
quote unquote against the Jedi way, but the Jedi, as we see in this movie, are flawed and gone.
Okay, if you want to go there.
They're rough.
Yeah.
They get everywhere.
The last time.
So besides Ewan McGregor's portrayal of Obi-Wan, I just want to say the opening scene I thought was amazing.
When they open up
Best
the
opener
shot,
in
Yeah,
Star
and
Wars.
they pan down to the just giant space battle that's going on. I thought it was a phenomenal just scene in general.
Yeah.
Even though
They got some
Yeah.
CG right. CG doesn't look awful.
yeah, I thought the CGI was exceptional in this movie compared to the past two, and the fact
Acceptable or exceptional?
exceptional. In the
There were obviously like
we also
moments of
got to say this is 2005. Like this is really good for the time period. Even though, of course,
they relied on it way too much.
99 and 2002 were not great with CGI. The time period was not great for CGI as well. So I thought the
it was
CGI
being used for the first time.
there are scenes that are like iffy.
Like when his hand is not on the ship.
when he's leaning
Yeah,
on
when he's
shit.
leaning
Yeah.
on nothing.
But the CGI in the beginning parts of the movie is amazing. Essentially,
You can tell where the budget went.
Yeah. Any scenes that stick out, Jake?
For good things.
For good things, yeah.
Uh,
I think I'd say we're all a fan of the Order 66.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I literally get emotional.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Order
it is
66.
tough.
I would say, I don't want to say the only emotional scene in the prequel trilogy, but it's definitely the most emotional.
It's the best
They saw
good
the
emotional
Jedi
scene.
Temple.
Yeah.
That's really.
I love it when they like march into the temple and Anakin's just leading them in because it's
Yeah.
just like you just kind of feel the power,
He's
Yeah.
got his yellow contacts in.
Yeah, it
Nice.
shows he's really
and then he opens
embraced
his mouth.
the hate. Yeah, anything else? Like, I don't want to get into negatives until we're completely covered with the positives. I'd say when they're watching, which is essentially like what the chorus or whatever they're watching at
It's
the.
a very interesting scene.
Oh,
All
the
right,
opera?
no, I'm talking. The opera. What I'm talking about is the
Darth Plagueis
Darth
the
Plagueis
Wise.
the Wise.
Yeah.
So
That's a
I
good
really
one.
think it is an interesting
Right,
scene.
but like the illusion, they don't obviously explicitly. We don't see him yet. Hashtag Snoke is Darth Plagueis. But
Lucas Palpatine.
But I really liked just that subtle nod to like past lore, even though obviously it's not very subtle because they tell the whole story. But it's not in your face.
It's the only thing from before the prequels that's referenced in the movies.
Right.
Yeah. There's this really good line at one point in the movie. The actor's name escapes me, but he goes, "Master Skywalker, there's too many of them. What are we going to do?" I thought that was really well delivered.
I don't know if he's.
Shut up.
I don't know if he's even credited, to be
not
honest.
You're not funny, guys.
What are we going to do?
That, he doesn't talk like that.
He sounds like
You can sound like Short Round in Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom. Michael's like, that's my stuff. We don't care.
All right. Any other scenes that jump out to us that are positive?
When Obi-Wan is riding the big chicken thing.
Oh yeah. I think. Oh well.
That's fun. It's a
Before
fun scene.
I would like to say
a fun scene in a dark movie.
I enjoy a good 75% of the Anakin Obi-Wan fight
Oh, absolutely.
on
Oh, yeah, definitely.
yeah, just we'll get into it in our negatives where it drags, but I think the beginning and ending of it are phenomenal.
The ending speech, this whole soliloquy at the end, like that is. It's
Yeah,
good.
it's powerful,
It's okay.
and
It's
I
very powerful.
And you can tell
Yeah.
Ewan McGregor's into it, too.
Yeah.
Lucas saved his best for last.
because Yeah, at the beginning when they start off and they're clashing and they're going at like rapid speeds, and you can tell how well trained both of them are.
They know each other so well.
They know each other so well. They can